So it's to be believed that Cesar Pena and my aunt Irma Young both hit by direct energy weapons. So obviously, when you're on drugs, etc., you're obviously gonna be a little bit out there, a little bit other. So the best way to hide your weapons is to attack the drug addicts and the crazy people, right? So when I was on drugs, they were attacking me, and I proved it. That's the whole reason. So I went to buy the drugs to test them. First off, they had roofies in it, so they can hypnotize you and do whatever with you. So when you have a roofie, or you have a drug or alcohol in your system, a neurotoxin, it's easier to conquer the mind and influence the mind because it's looser. It's a little bit more able to put your mind in a state of trance of consciousness in order to enter it with these weapons and voice commands, right? So I proved it by trials of tests, testing the waters, testing the spirits, testing the people. And this is intercession by action. So testing the people and the actions of the consciousness, testing the consciousness, because we've already tested the spirit. Testing the spirit is not necessarily testing the people. Testing the spirit is testing the spirit. This is the time of testing the people. See if they follow the King of Kings, or the Lord of Lords, the God, the Alpha Omega, the Christ of the nations, the Christ of the time period, etc. So, testing the peoples. This is for my doctrine. It's testing the peoples with the spirits, because my Father's word still stands. But the thing is, Cesar Pena shows symptoms of the same nature of talking to himself, but he wasn't talking to himself. He was talking to the direct alien. It's called voice to skull. They abbreviated to V2K. These are military grade weapons. It's like a radio frequency going to your car radio, except it penetrates you as an electric being, because we're all electric beings with electric impulses and neurotransmitters in our body. Our whole body is based on electricity. So as soon as they penetrate the magnetic field of your heart and they come into your vessel, they're able to go into your ears and things of an outside nature to inside nature, to influence noises in your body, etc. These are the crazy natures that make you sound crazy, but these are the natures of military grade tactics and weapons, homemade or otherwise, and they're highly illegal. But they do it to all the tweakers. Jose Coronado, I've seen Alex Coronado have symptoms. He told me he was stalked, and he wasn't wrong. He confided in me as an Amaya, and he's like, yeah, I'm being stalked, da 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 da. And they formed the late that stalking period. So I've already found 4 tweakers. I even channeled Scotty, and he had symptoms of it too, but he probably knows about it. But anyways, that being said, is that that they attacked Cesar Pena, Irma Young, Jose Coronado, Alex Coronado, and those are just a few that I met walking, and I've seen the symptoms of that. So there's natural schizophrenia, which, is hard to find, but you think the natural schizophrenia of the drug addict is all this elevated nature. It's not. When Jose Coronado, you see this guy in a tank top all the time, he's a tweaker, and he's always yelling out loud, like, ah, blah, blah. That's the nature of the weapons ruining the mind. It's not mixed with the drugs that ruined his mind. You know what I mean? But when I lived by 310, I had pulled a Santa Muertes mazo out, and I had prayed over him. And when I prayed over him at the bus stop, he was all talking to himself, all gacked out. And now he's sober. I prayed over the S-curve. So I brought him sobriety, but then later on I met him, and he became somewhat of a friend. But yeah. So now there's natures of tweakers being schizophrenic is a normal thing, right? But it's the type of schizophrenia is whether it's induced through direct energy weapons or it's induced through drugs. But the drugs don't normally induce super schizophrenia, as Jose Coronado has been diagnosed with through my nature and my interpretation, because I've already dealt with the natures of Brando and his walkie-talkies and all the tweakers projecting direct energy weapons, right? From the trailer park on I Street by the bridge going to South Salem. So that's where they are. But like I do, I reveal these military type weapons in order to save people, right? They do it to random people on the things. I've noticed they do it randomly, and I test them, and that girl's beautiful. But anyways, I expose these weapons on a public platform because people think these type of devices are, oh, this is what's fucking thinking he's in outer space and Star Wars and all types of stuff. Nah, bro. A simple Google search will tell you direct energy weapons exist, and they might exist in different natures, different forms, different homemade weapons, different routers, different frequencies, etc. But nonetheless, they exist. And to bring it to the nature is one of my philosophy, or one of my doctrines, is to show you the devices of man used against man in this world, right? Because if we don't have the devices of man handled and exposed, then the devices will continue to be conquering people and killing people. They've took my grandpa, they made him crazy schizophrenic at Jason and Melinda's house with the same weapons and the same tactics. The point of thing is they make you crazy in order for them to kill you, and they catch a body. But I claim all sacrifices. My grandpa and grandma made it to heaven. Did it to my grandma and possibly to my uncle Domingo. So my grandpa Domingo, my grandma Lydia Maya, and my uncle Domingo Maya all passed away. I had prophetic dreams of Domingo Maya being stuck on earth. I had to free him from a curse because they were using curse work and magic, and they were using direct energy weapons, which don't really correlate because the energy weapons put the belief of it. So the energy weapons artificially emulate spirituality, ghosts, pains, necromancy, etc. It's an artificial tactic. So they're not witches, and when they talk to witches, they make it a necromancy killing session. So that means that they've been doing this for years, and it's been about 30, 40 years that's been happening, and some of these people are not over 40, not over 23, 25. So that means that it's been passed down to them, to Brando and his tweaker friends, Brando Dilts and all that. All the tweakers use these walkie-talkies. You catch them with a walkie-talkie, call the police and tell them, and check the walkie-talkie frequencies. You know what I mean? But they caught 3 bodies, and I was the 4th one, the forgiven one. So they caught my grandpa Domingo, my grandma Lydia, and my Uncle Domingo. You know what I mean? That's 3. And then I'm the 4th one that they try to get, and they killed me, and I resurrected from an overdose with the frequencies and overdose with poisons and recreation. You know what I mean? But I know how to maintain myself. You know what I mean? So overdose would never happen. The only time you overdose is if they hit me with these frequencies. So that being said, you'll never catch me in an overdose. And when I drink, every time I blacked out my whole life, it was the frequencies of direct energy weapons. Because I already proved that I don't black out. When I moved to this town, they didn't have the frequencies on all the way. So I went to go drink, and I was sober, and I got into it. I was investigating the neighbor at 305, and because the baby dad, his girlfriend is my homie's baby's mom, and I thought he was a child molester, right? So I went and hit him up, and that fool hit me, and I'm passive, so I pulled back, and I was like, what the fuck? I was about to swing on him, but I just pulled back. The cops came. They tried to false witness me and say I did everything, and I just hit him up, bro, and I was asking him questions. So, you know what I mean? Then he was stalking me behind my window. His name is Brandon, a white dude in a baby blue Ultima, 305 I Street in the Evergreen Apartments. Yeah, so they thought they were child molesters, so I hit him up, and then the cops came. They brought the Monmouth precinct and the Independence precinct. All of the officers lined up and blocked me in a whole roadblock, and I prophesied a dream probably about 5 years ago, when I lived I was running up the street from a park, and in that one of the houses was a necromancer named Infernal Warlord, and one of the houses was army attire, and people who dressed up in the army or were from the army who were doing activities of killing people and child molestation and all types of stuff. And I lived and they were all around me and I ran up the street in a L shape, like where I-3 Street is, all the way up to 4th Street, and there was a park there. So that area is full of child molesters by prophetic dream. You know what I mean? And I moved me there for me to expose, right? So that being said, that usually the drug addicts, real high lustful, and these two towns are Sodom and Gomorrah towns, right? Sodom and Gomorrah towns. The Mon mouth, you know what I mean? And they make fun of it. You want some head? And they say it in the frequencies. And then the Mon mouth means the ones that run your mouth like bitches, you know what I mean? And that small community shit, you know what I mean? Don't confront shit. Don't message me shit. Because I said, if anyone have an issue, drop a message. That's all you got to do. Anything else is a sucker move. And then that being said, is that now we got a couple more people, Irma and Cesar, being attacked by the weapons, and Cesar, and Alex and Jose Coronado, and these are just the people I met on the streets. They try to make your brain feel heavy, your body feel heavy. You feel tingles around your body. It's basically like a radio wave, bro. So the radio waves, you know how a radio wave travels from an antenna to your car, and you get a radio frequency and you hear voices out your radio, you hear the songs, etc. It's the same concept, because you have an electrical being. So alkaline being, when you're alkaline vegan, you up the electrical content in your body in order to receive signals from God, spirits, mediumship, psychic abilities, etc. So when your electricity and your magnetic field, because your heart builds a magnetic field, you can look it up on Google. And so they're hitting your magnetic field with a radio frequency from a device, and then they format it in order for them to transfer voices to you. So it's not crazy. It's just the people that laugh at it and the people that think it's crazy are the fucking retards. You know what I mean? And then they try to make you look crazy and take a life. But they already got 3 bodies: my grandpa, my grandma, and my uncle, and the 4th given. And that's my grandpa, my grandma, and my uncle right there. And we'll put it in a 2-finger method like this. Oh man, I look like Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? The living word legend, bro. God himself.